Thank you for joining, everyone. Appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit something new. This will be good for myself and hopefully some of the viewers. I'm with a good friend. His name is Omar Ahmad. He is currently a student at the University of Iowa. He's doing pre-med, is that correct?
Yeah,
Health and human No, it's just health.
uh,
Health
health and human physiology.
Health
Yeah,
and human physiology is his undergrad right now. So he's got a lot of experience when it comes to health and wellness, a little bit more towards the doctor side. But why we actually brought him on today is to talk about his experiences eating and working out through Ramadan. So Omar is a Muslim, and because of that, they have I don't want to say holiday, but it's basically like a month-long. How would you describe it?
so like Ramadan is like it's always a changing set in time, right? It's the way how it's found is basically through I think what is like the new moon. I don't know how like they find it out, but it's like through that way. So it's a 30-day period, right? We've been through, I want to say 9 days so far of fasting. So there's like a lot of like historical like meaning behind this. Like the last week was basically when the Quran, like the book of like the religion was released to like the prophet, the last prophet. So that book basically has like the words of like God or Allah, like that basically taught us everything, right? It gives us everything, all the knowledge we need to know how to be practicing Muslim, all that stuff. So Ramadan is basically we pray 5 times a day. So we have Fajr, which is like before sunrise. So right now it'd be like 4:40 in the morning. Dhuhr is like early afternoon. Asr is somewhere in the mid-afternoon. And then Maghrib is when we break our fast. So that's like when the sun sets. So basically, as soon as you see it go dark outside, that is when we break our fast. So Fajr through Maghrib is when we are fasting. So I believe like in Iowa, that is like 15 to 16 hours, but like some other places like Iceland, they are literally fasting like 21 hours just because of how different it is, right? Because yeah, I mean, like you just think about the other places in the world, suns are like setting up, going down at different times, and then Isha is our last prayer. So, and then Ramadan, like I would like to say, it's a requirement. Like same thing with our prayers. So there are like 5 requirements as a Muslim that like you must complete, and this is usually when you tend to become a young adult because obviously when you're a kid or you're sick, it doesn't like really relate to you when you're fasting. You can't do it. But so the 5 pillars are like do your 5 prayers of the day. Zakat. So this is the time in Ramadan where at the end we donate a certain portion of our income to the poor or to the ones that need it because the whole purpose behind Ramadan is to understand like why like how hard and difficult it is without like the source of food, like water. We can't drink water, by the way. Like I feel like I get that question a lot, surprisingly. I remember the first time you found out in like I think high school, you guys were like flipping out. You had like fast like throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
But
Well, because when I think of fasting, I think of like usually just food. Like
yeah,
water, in my mind, at least, like as a Christian, like usually water would be okay, at least to some degree. But yeah, so I
yeah.
did thought that was surprising.
And so like and it's just like I feel to most generic population, it's a lot of people really do not know about it, and it's kind of like I don't know why. It's just like I feel like sometimes it's a mixture of like celebrities saying like, "Oh, happy Ramadan" for like their own benefits, sometimes to gain like Muslim follow. But like it's weird. But yeah, I mean it's a really beautiful month, and like it has a lot of meaning. I mean, like COVID has like really affected it big time, just because so for our community, like Friday, we had like a Friday program, sort of similar to how you guys had like a Wednesday thing, right? You guys had like a Wednesday program for the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
so
don't go to church frequently, usually like
yeah.
Sundays and then
Yeah,
sometimes
those days,
Wednesdays
yeah.
during the week are like a historically days that people congregate and actually go.
Yeah.
So he's describing the similar thing, but it's on Friday for them.
And so like Sunday or I mean Friday we always like met at like 6:30 and we just usually had like a potluck dinner, but like it was more of like a community thing, right? And so it was just like Ramadan's like a very big month, so that's why you tend to see people start showing up to the masjid a lot more. Like there's huge packs, right? So last year the prayers were cut off because of COVID. No one was allowed to come to the masjid, so like everything for as like regarding the prayers were done at home. And
Sure.
for the most part, like the nightly prayers, so like there's an extra prayer during Ramadan. Now it's optional, but it's for like if you want to have more good deeds and sort of get like related to the benefits of the month itself. It's called Tarawih. So usually I want to say it takes around an hour at nighttime, and that's right after the nightly prayer. And so literally you can just already think that like when you're starving, like most people get mad and agitated real quickly. Like I know for myself, like when I tend to get like bored or stressed out, I start eating, right? Like over and over again.
Sure.
But it's been like really difficult, like just eliminating that process and because you're trying to become the best as you can. Now it's not like, oh, when Ramadan comes, like I have to be the best person and right after I act like a normal, like you're trying to become a better person overall
Yeah.
so you can continue the whole thing like throughout your whole life. Like regarding prayer, your whole like general personality towards other people, the way how you treat people, all these things matter and this is what the month teaches us.
Sure. So I guess kind of in summary for the potential viewers, like basically Ramadan is a really important month for Muslims where
Yeah.
you basically work on self improvement, kind of becoming a better version of yourself in multiple different facets, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's just a really serious thing that people like don't really divert from, which is kind of what I want to get across to the viewers. Is like
Yeah.
it's not just like if I want to do it, like if you're a Muslim for the most part, like it's something they're all in for. So
Yeah,
it's
usually like I want to say when the time of like a young adult tends to mature, it starts like praying or like when a girl or a woman starts wearing a hijab, like those are pretty big things. So like that's when I would say like they can fast. Now I've seen like kids as young as like younger in middle school start fasting. And so like even for me, I don't think I started like till maybe junior year of high school, if I remember correctly, because my parents never like really involved me in that. But I clearly remember one time like during summer fitness, you remember Coach Fern, right?
yes,
So he ran up to me like the first time freshman year and he's like, "You're not fasting, are you?" I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" But I'm like
he's
really
one of our
glad
high
like
school lifting coaches.
yeah, I'm like really glad like people like that like really take a consideration. Like it's just,
Sure.
even now like I feel like a lot more people are finding out like what's going on. Like
Hmm.
even I've seen like some people participate just for a day just to see like, oh, how is it to like see the benefits of like fasting because of course there's that other side of like the health benefits
Right.
like clearing out your whole system.
Sure.
I'm not exactly
We're gonna
sure what a
we'll kind of get into that a little bit.
yeah.
But like so the big part of Ramadan is one of the biggest parts is that they're literally fasting from dawn to dusk, as in when the sun rises in the morning, they start fasting, and then
Mhm.
once it goes down at the end of the day, that's when they're technically allowed to eat based off of the month. So because of that, obviously during the day they're not consuming any food or any liquids, basically anything at all to any degree. So when it comes to like looking at this as from a health and fitness perspective, potentially even performance, if you're like a higher level athlete, that could cause a lot of issues because as we know, fuel and carbs, protein, fat, and then water, of course, is getting us a lot of that energy and vigor throughout the day. So, kind of one of the next things I wanted to pivot into, and we've kind of touched on a little bit, is how has it affected your training through your life? And kind of some of the things that you've done and noticed to work around it. So Omar does lift recreationally, I believe 4-ish times a week, maybe 5. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure, but he can kind of talk about that now. Just how has it affected your lifting
So
workouts?
like
What have you done
I
with
remember
weekly
the
stuff?
first time, like yeah, the first time I did it, like I just initially thought like this is gonna be the hardest thing, like, and that's what happens to a lot of young adults. Like so for the most part, like just think about a normal average person that wakes up like from goes to bed at around 11 and wakes up at 8, right? It kind of messes up your sleep because you are waking up before the sun rises because you want to have breakfast, right? That's the whole purpose, to get food in and then go pray that morning prayer and go back to bed. So you can just see like how it messes up your sleep a little bit. Now for like young adults, like especially when I was in high school, I used to stay up till like the morning prayer. So like that's like till 3, and then a lot of people used to like stay up till or like go to bed and not wake up till like 12 and 1, right? To get that 8 hours of sleep. So lifting wise, like to be honest, like yeah, it really depended like what I ate, like for when I broke my fast and what I ate in the morning. But it's surprising how like you can still lift the same amount of weight without consuming something. Now, like me, always like early on, I always felt like 30 minutes prior or an hour, like I had to have some type of meal, or else if I went in hungry to the gym, that I would not have as much of a good performance as I would usually. But you can still do it, and that's like the surprising thing. You can still carry on with your life, do your job, do anything, and like it's it also shows me like how food can be a distraction sometimes, to be
Oh,
honest.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you bring up some really good points, especially when talking about like a pre-workout meal and all this stuff about like, oh, you need to eat this,
Yeah,
this many
especially
minutes
the ones that are
before.
addicted to caffeine. Like I don't drink coffee or anything, right? And you can just like these people can't obviously wake up at 4 in the morning, drink coffee, and
Sure.
just the things that affect them. Yeah, like that's why you have to ensure that you're eating like your fruits, like vegetables, making sure your like food, what you're eating, is as nutritious as possible. Because I mean, if you eat like I've noticed, if I eat anything like pretty bad or even like fast food wise, it really just like I'm talking like Indian food, like when we had like group meetings with the community here.
Sure.
Dude, that stuff would like really mess you up. Like,
Yeah. So, do you think that like your food consumption or like your food choices make even more of a difference when you're like doing the fasting since you're kind of
yeah,
limited on the time frame and it's already like weird?
yeah. So like when I break my fast, like you automatically like medically think like I'm gonna eat as much as possible. Like whatever's on a plate, you're just gonna go at it. And the thing is, you're probably not. You are literally going to eat like half of what you're thinking, and your stomach is just gonna be like bloated at that point, right? And it's especially like the water, and like if you're drinking water or whatever you're eating water like sources from like fruit, you tend to be going to the bathroom a lot just because you just didn't even have anything for those like numerous amount of hours. So it's like you really do not even eat that much. Like, I don't know if I've lost weight, but I know like some people have said like I've leaned within like a week already of doing it.
Is it pretty common for people to lose weight during
I
the
I
fast?
feel like it's yeah, because you for like the average person, I would like say like the calories is like a 2000, right? So when I'm thinking like of dinner and morning time, like I'm not sure if I'm even hitting that number, to be honest. I don't think I am.
Sure.
But it's yeah, that's the whole purpose. Like it's not meant for you to just like go at the food. It then like just fulfill yourself, right? You're gonna obviously feel the effects of what the month's gonna take on.
Right.
And then as the days are going on, your like appetite towards food like it's really low. You just don't feel like eating that much when you break it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's super interesting. So like you kind of already mentioned it, like affecting your lifting. I know since I know you personally, you did in high school and stuff and even in college to some degree, like playing basketball and soccer and some sports that are more like higher cardio based. Um,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts and opinions on like how it's affected that type of performance? Because in my eyes, like I think lifting, I can definitely do fasted better per se, but sometimes those cardio activities where you're burning a lot of carbs and a lot of
yeah.
energy, like it kind of hits me a little bit harder. So
So I wouldn't like personally, I would not do it until like maybe like the same way how I lift, like 2 hours prior to breaking my fast because I've had those days, right, where I like have activities like maybe afternoon I would like mow the lawn and right after, cause you just be absolutely drained. You have like 5 hours left, till you break your fast. It takes a huge like toll on you as to like how your energy is throughout the day. So, like I'm pretty sure like for big athletes, like you've seen Anis Cantor or
yeah, yeah.
Cantor,
Is
yeah.
yep. Is it
Kyrie
a
Irving.
professional NBA player?
Yeah, these guys are like, I think Kyrie like just said he's Muslim too recently. I'm not sure if
Oh,
that's true
really?
or not.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Muslim athletes are currently fasting now, yet they're still keeping upon their training regimen. So like it's seriously crazy. Like these guys by no means are like skipping out. They're probably adjusting it to where they may train before they eat their morning breakfast and then train before they break their fast. So it's like for me, I will not play basketball until like an hour prior because I just know I'd be tired. And it's doable by no means like you wouldn't it's not like you're gonna die from it. It's like you're obviously gonna be like tired, stamina's gonna be low. But like I've played soccer and basketball like plenty of times, like
Yeah,
without yeah.
sure. Well, you get some adrenaline too going in you. Like once you start going, I mean, afterwards you're
Yeah,
probably like
especially when you're playing with
completely
friends.
wrecked.
Yeah, you're not really thinking about like yeah, sure you might get thirsty, but after all, like if you're having fun, it's not gonna really it'll be in the back of your mind, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really do find it fascinating that like I'm sure that there's got to be some um like marathon like Muslim marathon runners and people who are like training for really big events that still are doing all their training and stuff like through this like the least optimal conditions to train
Yeah.
and they still excel and it's really cool because it just shows you like all this crap that people sell of like it needs to be this perfect and that perfect you need this supplement that supplement like your body is so adaptable and so easily, can change to anything you throw at it. And I
Yeah,
think that this is
it's
just
definitely a
a
big
testament
test
to that.
mentally. Yeah, it's a big test mentally and physically as to how like I guess faithful you are and like you got to understand like just the whole meaning behind it, right? It's like it just gives you another input like as to how people are really suffering like out there in countries like Syria, like Pakistan, like all these countries that like many families are struggling. And that's the lesson that we're learning too. It's like a lot of people tend to like just overlook what like the blessings we have. Like we have a home, we have food on our plate like every single day. Yeah, we just don't even think that they're just people that are like, suffering. Like we just, without even taking a look, we may just throw half our plate away. And that's like just that's what we're trying to teach ourselves during this month is like we're trying to help them. Like that's why the donation at the end of the month is going like this is the time of the year where like I'm trying to think, but like it's like if you're doing like one good deed on like the last week of Ramadan, if I remember correctly, it is as if you multiply it by 10. So that's how big the last week is. So like let's say you helped like if I helped you move something from your house, like the couch, and you use it like on every single day, like I would technically like get a good deed from that times 10 for every single time you'd probably use that to your benefit,
Hmm.
right? And that's just how crazy this month is. It's just like so much like blessings for everybody and how to understand everybody, like Muslims and other people around the world.
Yeah. I honestly think that can be taken to for anyone in their normal lives of just trying to be a little more mindful of like the blessings that they do have. And we're going to talk specifically about health and wellness just because that's kind of what
Yeah.
channel is built on. But like just looking at yourself and, you may look in the mirror and be like, I don't particularly like how I look now, but I've lost 20 pounds. I'm feeling a lot better. I've got to
Hmm.
take those blessings and realize that like there are people that are way, way worse off than me.
Yeah.
So I really respect like the kind of self improvement and just almost like in a way you're suffering to make you realize that like in real life you're not suffering that much.
Yeah. I mean, it's a test just like everyday life. We face so many things like jobs and everything. So this is like a real next step level of just like like how can you handle this, like, right? Because I mean, after all, like regarding like just the poor, they are going about their lives starving for days and days, and that's, yeah, it's the whole story. But yeah, if you wanted to get on to the health and wellness, I'm kind of curious as
Oh,
well. I
that's
looked it
good.
up too, but I just know it helps your digestive system a lot better.
Yes,
But
I've heard that too. Actually, that's one thing. I don't like fast like this, but I do intermittent fasting where basically I skip my breakfast every day and eat my first meal
yeah,
around 10:30 or 11, which isn't inherently special. And for the viewers, like intermittent fasting, there's nothing special about it. You're just skipping breakfast, so there's no special effects when it comes to weight loss. You're just kind of trimming the window down you eat, so you would potentially eat less calories. And one of the things you already mentioned was that you don't feel as hungry after you start eating. Like after I,
mhm,
break my fast at 11 or 12 in the middle of the day, I get full really quickly. So I could only
yeah,
imagine you going the entire day and then like thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hog wild, and then you can't. But again, I really do like it because it does just give your body time to like chill and not
yeah,
constantly
there
digest
is a
food.
lot of like health benefits behind it, and I'm not necessarily sure as to like if that's another purpose, but like just by looking at it, like it just helps your blood pressure, your weight, right? And these are like big, like just problems in the United States. Like mainly, you just look at the obesity rates and like the adults and going up. It is like crazy, especially the young adults, like children that are going up. The obesity rates are just
Oh
like
yeah,
it is
absolutely.
mass. Like it's and that's why like sometimes you when you're fasting, especially you tend to look at like am I eating the appropriate things for me to last long enough, like so
Sure.
I don't like like carbs that like will make me last longer throughout the day,
Yeah,
rather than just like it's like just going
eating
out going
crap.
to McDonald's, yeah,
Yeah.
McDonald's or something, and just like
Well,
I
that's
would
kind of
no way, yeah, eat something like that while fasting.
absolutely. No, and I think that, I mean, hopefully, in my eyes, like after people do that, they realize that like, hey, if I take this into my normal life, like I don't have to do this just for fasting. Like I should probably be eating this stuff all the time because
Yeah.
that's how my body works the best. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah. So, let's see here. There was something along the lines. Okay, so I was actually thinking of kind of like the psychological health of this time. So this is like a month of people doing this, and
Hmm.
I've kind of struggled with eating disorders my whole life. So I'm just thinking of like there's got to be some Muslims out there who struggle with eating disorders. Like, do you know any personally or have any experiences with like how that would go for them during this time where they're like maybe they've had binging and purging issues or anorexia and they come to this time where they're like forced to basically
Yeah.
almost be semi anorexic for lack of a better term, but I just can only
um
imagine like it.
I feel like, yeah, there are definitely people out there like that, but personally from my community, I don't think so. Now, I think that's like it that area just tends to be more of like a private concern, like binge eating and like or low amount of intake of food.
Sure.
But personally, I don't think so from like all the people that I know. But again, like it's just like more of like a private topic that I don't think many people like to
We'll talk
tell.
about it, even if
Yeah, like
yeah,
starving himself, right? So like I, in my opinion, I would not be surprised, for example, if there are like possibly some like Muslim girls out there that may starve themselves just to like lose weight to
sure,
overall look better by the end of the month.
I could see that.
Yeah, they may have different motives, but yeah, from like all the guys I know and the people of my community, like the uncles and stuff like that, I don't, not from what I've seen.
Yeah,
No.
people take it serious. It's not
Yeah.
like the
It is
weight
because
loss
you're not supposed to
whatever.
harm. It's not meant to harm you. Like
Right,
it literally, as soon as that minute hits for Maghrib prayer, like the sun sets, you are supposed to like finish your break your fast. Like
right,
it is said, like if you break your fast like 5 minutes afterwards, like it is frowned upon, like
yeah,
religiously, like because it's not meant to harm you. You're like it's a
right,
teaching lesson for you.
sure. Yeah, I think that's a good point. So, I mean, you would say that like most people, since it's just kind of like more self help and self reflection, trying to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I don't think.
It's like not even like on their mind. Like you're
Yeah.
thinking about it in a totally different
I
aspect.
mean,
So
and like even like someone like me, and like I know some of the guys like Muslim lifters that go like to the gym to like out like an hour prior to breaking their fast. Like we may sometimes think of it as like a cutting thing just because we are already
yeah,
eating like a lower amount of calories. So,
I probably
um,
would if I was
yeah,
in the situation.
but it's now in this current period, it's definitely gotten harder as I'm like lifting a lot more weight than I used to as compared to like high school. So like there's been days literally like I could not like lift my last set or I just did not want to just because like there's just no way. Like I may just hit like one rep out of it or not be able to do it at all. So
Yeah,
it's like for me, water intake was already a problem. Like I did not drink that much water already. So that's what I'm trying to stay on top of, but it's still a difficult thing. Like you're just it's like coming home from the gym. Like you sometimes there's those days where you're just like, man, I'm just gonna eat whatever is there on the table.
right,
But it's yeah, same thing like when you're about to break your fast. It's like there's some days you are just gonna like eat whatever's there, like who cares? Like
sure.
I'm yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just being a human being though. Like
Yeah.
it's not, and especially when you're like in that mindset of I literally haven't eaten in 16 hours. I'm sure that's I would. I'm sure a lot of people would feel that way because guess what? People do that literally even when they can right now. So like
Yeah.
that's why people are obese and overweight is because they do this crap all the time where they just go and say whatever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. What
I
else?
guess like something else that I can add on to it. So like the times are like always changing for this month. I'm not exactly sure as to how, but there's readings where like it's scientifically like stated, like it's 100% accurate just to state for most people. Um, like I think in high school it was mainly around the summer. So that's why it was easier for as a younger kid that did not like have a job. You would just have to like, you get to sleep whenever you want. You get to stay
Yeah,
up whenever you want.
sure.
Now as someone that has to like stay on like somewhat of a schedule for school. So for college students in high school, we're dealing with final exams, right? And I think the last week of Ramadan is when those final exams are. So just being able, I know some people like to like not take their fast on that day because you are allowed to make it up, right? For example, like women that may be going through like their menstrual period or like
Sure.
that sort of case, they can't do that because it's seriously affecting them. So
Right.
they have to
Exactly.
make it up later on. Yeah, it's crazy because like in the past, like for when you look at the history of like Islam and like through like all the historical events, like in the prophets they used to be like fasting throughout like battles, like insane battles, like wars. And now in current age, we have like, students that are just like, yeah, I'm not going to fast today just because I have an exam and I want to do good. The standards have definitely changed as to like how we are modernly. But I mean, overall, I guess it's just like, it's always going to be changing, right? Like there's certain aspects of religion and like how we think about it.
Yeah, that's super funny you bring that up, and I think it kind of goes to similar parallels of just like American diets in general, where people they think they're gonna just start like any little bit of hunger means
Yeah.
I need to eat as much food as possible. Like I can't feel this hunger. But I'm somebody who like, if I'm hungry, I'll kind of feel that out and be like, this is a normal part. I'm not gonna starve. I have access to food, and then
Mhm.
realizing like what I'm actually hungry for, if I'm even hungry in general. Like, cause sometimes you're
Yeah.
bored, as you said, and you'll eat, but like, is it boredom or am I like actually feeling hungry that I need food?
Yeah, I feel like personally me, like just going through school and just having like odd days of like things to do and not to do, like I just had a bad habit of like the month before, like just whenever I felt bored, I just go in the kitchen and grab something lightly. But yeah, now it's going to be interesting how I will go about it when this month's over.
Sure. So, kind of the last couple things, and we've touched on this a little bit, but I just wanted to go back at like what your current lifting habits are. Like, how are you lifting? What type of lifting? And then like just the general time frame, because I think that's kind of a
Yeah,
good perspective for people listening to understand, like, when you normally would, and then like, how you changed it, just because of
yeah.
the situation.
So normally I would like to go at like 12 to 2. And now you can definitely do that, but after that, you are going to feel like the big effects of it till you break your fast. So that's why you see a lot of athletes, especially the one that go to the gym to lift, they go prior to the time they break their fast. So I want to say 7:50 is when you break your fast in Iowa. So I would probably go to the gym maybe at like 6:20, 6 to give myself enough time to be able like to stretch and go through everything. Because you got to think it's not like your body is like at somewhat of a like a low energetical like point to where you really can't like rush things. Like if you
Hmm.
do, it's gonna take a toll on your body. So you gotta be patient, like really listen to your body, what it's telling you. But yeah, I'm lifting the same things. I haven't like, bench press, squat, deadlift, those main lifts, overhead press, and then the side lifts to like work your tricep extensions, your biceps, all that stuff is still included in my workout. Um, Now to be said, it's like, yes, it is a lot harder. But you tend to not think about it once you get into lifting. Like for me, it's like you just go at it one by one. And I think the big plus is like when I see like other kids my age in the gym or even like older like men like that I know of, like uncles that I know from the community lifting or running cardio, it's like realistically anybody can do this, right? It is like as mentally, if you can think, you can do it, or whether you cannot, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's like basically how I do it. And so like when I get home, shower, like it's the perfect time to like make a protein shake, and then eat by dinner for that day to have that instant like meal for right after I lift.
Yeah. I think the way you do it is probably how I would do it too, because I think the complete opposite spectrum is like I would do it right after I wake up in the morning. Because in my
Yeah.
mind, like I couldn't imagine doing it during the middle of the day, because I feel like that would be where your hunger pangs are the worst.
Uh-huh.
Um,
But it's definitely harder. Like if you were to do it right after in the morning, like that would be like well, I don't know what time you do it, but you are waiting like those maybe 8 to 10 hours till you can break your fast. So that's where it starts getting very difficult on your body.
yeah. I'm sure mentally too. Like we've been talking
Yeah,
about physically,
yeah,
but like mentally, like that. It's just you go in thinking I haven't had all this food all day, so like it's gonna be tough, and maybe it is tough, maybe it isn't, but like psychologically, it's kind of probably taking a toll
yeah.
in general.
Yesterday, so the YMCA over here closes at 6, so I went at 4 o'clock, right? Finished at 6, and then I told myself when I was gonna get straight home, I was gonna mow the lawn, and usually that takes around like more than an hour. And so the lawnmower literally was having a problem. Like, it was easy to push when you grab the lever. It
Yeah,
becomes
yeah,
real easy. So for some reason, it became like 4 times its weight. So I'm like pushing this thing like crazy. And dude, by the time I'm not even done, like I actually had to finish like half of it like later today. But like when it became time to break my fast, like dude, I felt like I just went through like some battle royale and my body was just like steam just coming out. Like I haven't felt like my body be like that in a long time.
Well, if you've never, like, for any viewers, like, if you've never actually mowed a lawn without the self-propel, like, it's like doing a mini sled push for an hour straight.
Yeah.
It's no joke. It's some pretty. I mean, even just like going around, like maneuvering the one with self-propel is still kind of a little bit of a trek. So I could only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, not to
Uh,
mention, my neighbor, Mr. C, our old teacher from high school, was looking at the lawn, so had to make sure that I was ready.
try extra hard, extra energy.
He probably is
Um,
like, this guy didn't even cut the other side of his lawn, so there must be something going on.
so I guess one of the things when I think of training is like you probably just need to be a little more in tune with your body. I would definitely not skip lifting. I'm sure some people would take
No.
this as a great excuse to take the entire month off, but that's how
Yeah,
you lose literally all
yeah.
your progress, right? So,
I've had those days where I've like eaten for morning just like simply a bagel because you're waking up at that time and like 4 in the morning and it's like you're just feeling like sleepy. It's like well, I don't even feel like eating food. And yeah, it's a big mental thing. Like for lifting personally, like I've always felt like the stronger I felt mentally, I've always believed in myself that I can just go through whatever like lift I had to do. And so yeah, you really personally gotta like just go in there mentally and just tell yourself you can like do this. That's the big thing of lifting overall, right? It's like those people that have struggles of like going up on weight or continuing like their workout
progress,
consistently.
yeah, right.
Yeah, they just tend to have like a mental like stigma with themselves, like, oh, I'm not looking good as I expected to, or this is not working out for me. I can't do this while I work a job. Like, if you like think that way, if that's how you like take that outlook, you're never really gonna change that aspect. You gotta like think more of a positive way, like just like you are training your body. I mean, for the most part, like you look at like the country of America right now, like and how many people like are still continuing their physical activity and especially the ones that are missing out on it. And like the one part I always like to laugh at. I know we both laugh at the New Year's resolution where these people tend to like
Yeah.
there's so many people that are like I'm going to lift, I'm going to have a huge transformation and it's just like months later just gone, nowhere to be
Oh,
seen.
right.
So yeah, mental aspect is a huge thing. Just the way how you outlook on like your lifts and how you, because especially for me, like I've noticed like without food I get mad like real easily. Like
Oh,
even if it's
sure.
the smallest
Most people
things,
do.
like yeah. And so lifting is a real good like therapy for just like letting all the stress out. But yeah,
I didn't
it's
even
just
think about it in that regard. That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah, it's a really good like you have to self control, right? After all, you're trying to become like a better overall. So it's just like you can really just get ticked off in a matter of seconds for most people. Like you just like if someone like stops the car right in front of you just like really fast, that thing just like really like start
Yeah.
making you really
That would
angry or
make
something.
that would make most people mad
Yeah,
even if that wouldn't
already,
be
and
a
it's so
goal.
like without the food aspect of it and like feeling that like nutrition coming into your body, you could just like imagine how some people just go bizarre, crazy like over something, right? And so that's what we try to control after all.
Nice. Well, I think we got some really good information out of this. I know I did. I thought this was pretty enjoyable to talk to you. Is there anything else, like kind of in regards to just moving through exercise and diet and how it's affected you during this? I know we've kind of covered a lot, but any just last key points when it comes to just like Ramadan and how things are?
Um, I mean, like if people like wanted to try this out, like I would probably suggest more of like an intermittent fasting just because I don't think that's as difficult as what it is like now, like where you're not eating anything in the morning and training at 12 or however you stated,
Not
just to give it
difficult
a,
at all.
yeah, just to give it a try. I know many people don't do that, but it's seriously like it is a crazy process and it's really like just the health benefits and everything you're getting out of it. It's really crazy to see what it can take effect on the body. But yeah, like I guess like for your listeners or viewers, it's just like there are a lot of Muslims out there that are currently fasting. Like it's not like, our duty to like just go out there and be like, oh, I'm fasting, I can't work, right? Like I think one specific time I remember during high school, like when I worked at Hy-Vee, the manager gave me a break, and I sort of was like, yeah, I don't think I really need a break. Like I can't eat after all. And just everybody was like, wait, what do you mean by you can't eat? And I was like, yeah, I'm fasting for the month of Ramadan. So I literally sat there for 30 minutes while we're working, taking care of bags, like telling them, and they're just like, dude, I don't know how you do this. And there's like millions of people that are currently doing this right now. So it's a really beautiful thing. I think sometimes I forget like the beneficial in the history of behind it. So like yeah, if you're ever like interested in looking up some of the things and like understanding it, I guarantee you it probably make many people like, especially the Muslims around here, like very happy. But just to clarify, so like on the last day like of our fasting, the next day is called like Eid. So like that's like when that's just like the finalization day where you see, I'm pretty sure many people have seen on the news like, oh, this is what Eid is, and like many people just dressed up in very fancy clothes praying for the last time for like the big month of Ramadan. So that's why I love parts of it because I just get to see the community many days throughout the week. But just with COVID, it's gotten very difficult to see anyone. Like, there's not many community programs. Luckily, this year we can go to the mosque for the nightly prayers.
Sure.
Those extra prayers if you want to do them, just to keep you going. Because last year it was sort of canceled off, so it was very hard to like keep upon your prayers and just do these specific things when you just don't have people you can relate to. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much my overall thing.
Good
But
stuff.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, taking some time to just teach some people about this. Again, as I said, that was helpful for me. I enjoyed talking, and hopefully there'll be some people who gain from it. Do you have any social media you'd like to plug that I could put in? I can put your YouTube channel. I
um,
know that's not quite health
uh,
related, but some people still might find it interesting. I can put your Twitter
yeah.
too if they want
So
to ask you questions.
yeah, I mean, if they have any questions, yeah, probably my Twitter would probably be the best. But yeah, like you again, as you stated, my YouTube channel is mainly on like video gaming because it's been like a big part of my life overall ever since I was a kid. So it's like, why not start something like that? And I've had a fun time doing it. But yeah, like what you're doing, with your channel is like really awesome. You know, I keep telling this kid to expand his audience with like younger kids and like older everybody else, like adults, because I just think like you know what you're doing, especially helping out like many people as it is, it's like a really big thing. Like as I'm continuing my education in the health field, it's like the more I find out about like these like disease rates regarding like obesity, it is just crazy to
Yep.
just even understand. Like, and plus like as a health like student, especially probably you hear these numbers like so many times.
Right.
It just starts to get like sickening. It's like, man,
Yep.
it's like you
It's
want these
like
people to change, but it's like it has to be down to them.
right.
Like if you're gonna take it
You're getting into another
seriously,
podcast. You're giving out
yeah,
information. We could talk an hour about behavior change.
yeah.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
yeah.
YouTube and Twitter is fine if anyone
Sure.
has
Yeah,
any
I'll
questions
plug in
for
the
me.
information. So if you have any questions on Ramadan, kind of how he goes through things, for lifting and nutrition, you can ask him there. You can also check out his YouTube channel. He's got some really good Call of Duty clips. He's way better than me at Call of
Yeah,
Duty. I had my days, but appreciate the time. So thank
yeah.
you, Omar, and catch you later.
See ya.
All right.